Welcome to the dataBridge SharePoint 2010 Foundation Training. We found that it's what learners do that determines how much they learn. These training sessions are designed to provide you with the knowledge and skills to become a SharePoint super user. The tutorials are divided into self-paced training modules that allow you to see a demonstration, hear an explanation, then perform or practice the task on your site. We highly encourage that type of interaction to get the most out of these training tutorials. This training is designed for contributors, designers, and administrators of a SharePoint 2010 Foundation site. In this session, we're going to give you a brief overview of what we are going to cover in the training, as well as what a SharePoint site is, where did it come from, and what are the components of it, and how it is put together. So let's get started and take a look at the content of the training. We broke up the training into 10 main areas, starting with an overview. Then we get into some specifics like the different kinds of libraries such as documents, pictures, and wikis, the different kinds of lists that come with SharePoint out of the box like announcements, calendars, and task lists, and the ability to create custom lists from scratch or from an Excel spreadsheet. Next, we'll take a look at how to customize lists by adding various types of columns to a list depending on the type of information you need to record. We'll then get into the Views section, which is the ability to create reporting to be able to show the content of lists and libraries that best fit a particular purpose. Next, we go into Web Parts, which are the building blocks for a SharePoint site. Web parts are placed on pages and configured to present content such as text, images, or lists of documents in the most beneficial way for your site visitors. And then we go into User Settings to show users how to change their information such as their password and email address. Creating sites, pages, and workspaces is an area where we give you the building blocks to build out your intranet, extranet, or knowledge base and connect multiple sites, creating a site collection. We'll get into users and permissions, show you how to add users, assign them to certain team groups, and then also select permissions for sites, lists, and files to control who sees what content on the site. Then the Site Settings section is the administrative area of SharePoint. We'll go through detail on each one of those on what the functionality is of each site. This is a starting point for the training video list. New titles will continually be added to the collection. So what is SharePoint? First off, it's collaboration. It's working together on team projects and sharing information to accomplish goals. It's document management. SharePoint provides a structured way to manage and share documents through the use of versioning, metadata, and workflows. It does away with the email attachment nightmare where you end up with multiple documents or multiple versions of a document and outdated or obsolete documents. It's a portal, which is a personalized user interface that brings together information from different websites or web services. It's also content management, allowing for publishing and design processes for pages on portals or other websites. And here's a brief history of SharePoint. In the late 1990s, during the Internet boom, many startups created web-based portals, content management, and collaboration systems. Microsoft followed in 2000 by coming out with the first version of SharePoint called SharePoint Team Services. Followed up in 2003, they came out with version 2.0. Then in January 2007, they released version 3.0. In 2010, Microsoft released the most recent version of SharePoint. The name was changed from Windows SharePoint Services to SharePoint Foundation. Several key enhancements were made to this version, including a new interface providing the ability to access commands more efficiently and intuitively, improved management of site content, and the ability to work across multiple Internet browsers, just to name a few. Let's talk about what a site is. A site stores lists of documents, events, tasks, discussions, and many other types of information. It contains pages and web parts that provide access to information that is either stored within a site or in external locations. And a site controls access and defines permission levels for users and groups within a site. A site collection is a set of sites connected together. One site is the root site and the rest are subsites or child sites. In this diagram, we're looking at an intranet home as the root site or a parent site. Below that are two subsites named Marketing and Human Resources. We further created subsites or child sites under those named Management and Sales for Marketing and Employee Information for Human Resources. We'll show you how to partition these off and create permission levels for these where employee information may be just for the Human Resources Department eyes only. As we create these sites, you're going to have the ability to choose a template that determines the site functionality and initial configuration of content on the site. So as we create that marketing or human resources or IT site, you will be able to choose a template that best fits the purpose and needs for the site users. Within sites, you have different lists that store list items. They specify a set of columns or fields that each list item will have. Lists have different ways to view list items by using sorting, filtering, and grouping functions. And they control access and define which permission levels user and groups will have within a list. When creating a new list, the user selects a list template based on the purpose of the list. The template selected determines the list functionality and built-in fields for the list, such as an announcement list, task list, or document library. There is also an option for a custom list that allows the user to create the fields for the list. So that should provide you with a good overview of what SharePoint is and prepare you with a foundation for the remaining tutorials.